Okay, welcome back everyone to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
We've got quite a bit of material you shared, all focusing on this really crucial topic, protecting your mental energy, especially now, right? In a world that just feels like it's constantly pulling at you.
Absolutely. It feels noisier than ever.
So our plan for this deep dive is to really unpack what these sources are saying. What is mental energy according to them?
Yeah, what does it actually mean?
And what are those sort of sneaky things that drain it? And then importantly, what can we actually do about it? What strategies do these sources offer?
And I think that analogy one of the sources use is perfect, thinking of it like your phone battery.
Right. Limited resource.
It needs managing. Exactly. It needs mindful management, and you have to intentionally recharge it. It's not automatic.
Given, the constant pings, the information overload, understanding this feels pretty essential now.
Less like a self-help nice to have, more like a fundamental skill for navigating modern life based on this material.
Okay, so let's start right there. Based on these sources, what is mental energy? It sounds simple, maybe just alertness, but it seems deeper.
It definitely goes deeper than just feeling awake. Across the board, these sources talk about it as your capacity to focus.
Okay, focus.
And to think clearly, make decisions big or small, solve problems, and crucially, keep yourself emotionally balanced.
Emotional balance, okay. So it's cognitive and emotional fuel.
That's a great way to put it. It's the fuel you need to, actually engage with your day properly, with work, with people.
And when that fuel tank starts running low, what are the signs? What red flags do these sources mention?
Well, they highlight a few common things you might notice, like maybe finding yourself snapping at people more easily.
Yeah, that short fuse feeling.
Exactly. Or feeling just bone tired, really exhausted, even if you think you got enough sleep.
Right, that feeling where sleep didn't actually recharge you.
And struggling to concentrate. Tasks that usually feel manageable suddenly feel heavy, difficult.
And what's interesting is the point they make about how it gets drained. Not always one big thing.
No, right.
Go.
Precisely. That really stood out. It's often the accumulation of small, consistent drains, little leaks, you could say.
Little leaks you might not even be noticing day to day.
Yeah, until suddenly you hit empty.
Small leaks. Okay, that a perfect lead-in to what some of this material calls the silent energy thieves.
Ah, yes, the thieves.
These things that chip away at that battery, maybe without us even realizing it's happening. What are the main ones these sources identify?
They call it a few really common ones. First one, constant decision-making.
Decision fatigue. I've definitely felt that.
They talk about this phenomenon, decision fatigue, and the example used is so relatable.
The one about feeling drained just trying to decide on lunch?
Yes, let alone choosing clothes or figuring out how to answer this email or that text.
It's the sheer number of choices, isn't it? Not necessarily how big they are.
Exactly. Every single choice, no matter how tiny, takes a little sip from that mental energy reserve.
Okay, so that's one. What's another thief?
Another major one mentioned across the sources, toxic people.
Ooh, okay. Energy vampires, is that the term they use?
That's the one. And it's quite vivid, the description. Certain conversations, certain interactions, they just leave you feeling heavy.
Drained, negative maybe.
Yeah, drained and negative. And you can contrast that with people or interactions that actually leave you feeling energized.
Right. It's not just about disagreeing with someone, it's the feeling you're left with.
It's the quality of that interaction itself, yeah. That's what these sources seem to emphasize.
Okay. What else is quietly draining us, according to this material?
Overstimulation. This feels like a really big one for right now.
You mean like phones, screens?
Exactly. The material links it directly to our digital habits. That endless scrolling through feeds, constantly switching between apps, trying to multitask, thinking you're being efficient.
But it's not relaxing.
That's the counterintuitive part. It feels like downtime, maybe, but the sources argue it's actually really tiring for your brain.
Because it's constantly having to shift focus, change context.
Precisely. It's demanding constant attention shifts. So what feels like a break is often just another kind of mental work.
Wow. Okay. That's a big one. Anything else?
Yes. One more key thief they highlight. Unresolved emotions.
Meaning like stuff you're trying not to feel.
Exactly. Suppressing things like anger, guilt, anxiety, maybe resentment. The sources say it doesn't make those feelings go away.
Just pushes them down.
Pushes them down, but they're still active. And it takes a surprising amount of mental energy to keep them contained.
Like holding a beach ball underwater.
That's a perfect analogy. And one source had a really stark line on this. Something like, when you don't deal with them, they deal with you.
Oof. meaning they're constantly draining energy in the background.
Constantly siphoning it off. So
Okay.
that idea that suppression is an active drain feels really central here.
Okay, so we've got the resource mental energy. We've got the leaks, decision fatigue, toxic people, overstimulation, unresolved emotions. Now, the good part.
The solutions.
Yes, the practical stuff. How do we protect this energy? What strategies do these sources recommend we actually do?
All right, the material lays out 5 key approaches. First one, kind of tackling those energy vampires and demands, setting boundaries.
Boundaries. Not always easy, but important.
Crucial. And it's framed here not as being selfish or difficult, but really as an act of self-respect, self-preservation.
And practically, what does that look like according to the sources? Learning to say no more often.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Learning to say no, not feeling like you have to go to every single thing you're invited to.
Or answer every call or text immediately.
Right. Or feeling the need to give a long, elaborate explanation every time you decline something. It's about defining and protecting your own space and energy.
Controlling where your energy goes. Makes sense. Okay, what's next?
Strategy number 2 is linked to tackling that overstimulation thief, practicing digital minimalism.
Okay, digital minimalism, like less screen time.
Less screen time, yes, but also being more intentional about what you consume. The sources suggest practical things like unfollowing social media accounts that consistently make you feel bad.
Or drained or angry.
Exactly. Turning off notifications that aren't actually essential. You don't need your phone buzzing for every single, right.
Definitely not. And having screen-free time.
Yes. Carving out deliberate screen-free hours, especially, they emphasize, in the hour or 2 before you plan to sleep.
To let your brain wind down. I remember one source had a great line. Your mind deserves peace, not pinging.
That really nails it, doesn't it? Cuts right to the core.
It does. Okay, strategy 3.
Creating a protective morning routine.
A morning routine. Does it have to be complicated, like a 2-hour workout?
Not at all. The idea isn't about adding more pressure. It's about starting the day, even just a little bit, on your terms.
Claiming some mental space before the world rushes in.
Precisely. Before the emails and the demands start flying. The examples given were simple. Maybe just 10 minutes of quiet.
Or jotting down a few thoughts. Journaling.
Or just mindfully sipping your coffee or tea without also scrolling through your phone. It's about setting a calm initial tone. Protecting that early part of the day.
Establishing a whole pocket of control. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4.
Number 4 is related to avoiding those draining conversations we talked about. The sources call it the art of disengagement.
The art of disengagement. So knowing when not to engage.
Exactly. Recognizing that you don't actually have to participate in every argument you're invited to.
Online or in person.
Both. And you don't have to feel obligated to reply to every provocative comment or email, especially if you know it's just going to suck you into negativity.
So it's choosing where you spend your conversational energy. Stepping back sometimes.
It's like setting a boundary around your dialogue, protecting your emotional and mental space within conversations.
Okay. And the 5th strategy.
The 5th one is crucial. Actively working to refill your cup.
Refill your cup. So recharging that battery.
Yes. And the material really stresses that rest is productive. It's not lazy. It's not slacking off. It's essential maintenance for your mental engine.
And refilling isn't just about getting enough sleep, although that's obviously key. What else counts as refilling, according to these sources?
They list quite a few things. Taking actual breaks during the workday short, but real breaks away from your screen.
Getting outside, maybe. A short walk.
Definitely. Spending time in nature comes up. Listening to music that genuinely lifts your mood.
Or doing hobbies, things you enjoy.
Yes. Intentionally doing things that, as one source put it, light you up, even if they seem small or unproductive in a traditional sense. The key is choosing activities specifically for their restorative quality.
Actively putting energy back in to counteract the drains.
Precisely. It's an active process.
Okay, so let's pull this all together then. We've looked at what mental energy is, based on this material, the subtle ways it gets drained, and these 5 key strategies for protecting and replenishing it. Boundaries, digital minimalism, morning routine, disengagement, refilling the cup. What's the big takeaway here? What does managing this energy really mean for how we live our lives?
Well, the consistent message weaving through all these sources is that this isn't about hiding from life or avoiding challenges.
It's not about building a bunker.
Not at all. It's about building resilience. It's about managing your internal resources so you can actually engage with life more effectively, more fully.
So managing energy helps you do more, not less.
In a way, yes. Or at least do the important things better. When your mind isn't constantly running on fumes, the sources suggest you make clearer decisions.
Right, less decision fatigue.
You're more present in your relationships because you have the capacity for connection. And just your overall experience of day-to-day life can feel calmer, more peaceful, less reactive.
So it boosts your effectiveness and your well-being.
Exactly. It enhances your capacity to navigate life well, rather than just constantly reacting to whatever demands pop up.
So treating your mental energy like that limited phone battery isn't just about saving power. It's about making sure you have power for what actually matters.
That sums it up perfectly. It's about having the internal capacity for the things you value.
And didn't one of the sources leave us with a kind of provocative question to reflect on?
It did, yes. It's a really good one to mull over after thinking about all this. It sort of distills the whole deep dive into a personal action point.
Okay, what's the question?
The question is, what can I remove from my life today to feel more alive tomorrow?
That's powerful.
It really prompts you, doesn't it? To look at those energy thieves we talked about, look at the refilling strategies, and think, okay, based on this material, what's one concrete thing I could actually remove or change starting now that might make a real difference to my energy levels?
A great question to leave our listeners with. Food for thought.